I know it's funny. A lot of other content creators I see are making these types of videos, and then I watch the fact that a lot of content creators are kind of just stopping and like they do it so much better than me. And it's not like I'm wanting to take a break from YouTube forever. It's just a momentary pause while I just figure everything out. Because whatever I'm currently doing obviously is not working. And it's frustrating and it's upsetting. And unfortunately, Digimon just as a game is not getting any better. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat that. Um, and
It's going
so
down the tubes, and you're like, I don't know, man.
yeah, so I just needed to vent and like I don't know. You're just always there to be a really good listener.
Well,
So,
I mean, it's hard to have a good conversation if you're not good at listening,
I know.
or give people advice if you don't listen to what they have to say.
So, yeah, that's why I was just like, "Oh, I probably need like the rubber ducky effect where it's just like I need somebody to bounce off of in order to have this come across and be more genuine, I guess."
That's fair.
Cuz I've spent like probably the last 4 or 5 months just figuring out just a deck I want to play and what I enjoy playing. And unfortunately, I came to the realization that it's honestly not the deck. The deck is not the issue. The issue is with me because I don't agree with how the game is being played. And it's hard to find a deck that you enjoy when you don't like what actually is going on with the game.
Well, I mean, that's the case with everything, because I mean, there obviously there's a lot of decks you could probably say, "Oh yeah, I'd totally play that. Oh yeah, I'd totally play that." But if you don't like fundamentally how the game plays anymore, or fundamentally how people are playing the game, I mean, it's just like not to not to go real back in time, but I remember, back in college when we were doing Commander, Commander nights, or not really Commander nights, but just having like free Commander fights between classes.
Yeah.
And we got to this point though where, oh, I got to upgrade my deck because it's not competing with your guys' deck. So somebody would upgrade their deck, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, now I got to upgrade my deck because your deck's gotten a whole lot better, and I'm not a big fan of it. And it just got into this very vicious cycle of everyone just updating their decks. And at least in my perspective, it was getting to the point where it's like, I'm not really enjoying playing much anymore. I still enjoy playing my deck, but everybody else's decks, and mine included, are getting to the point where it's not fun to play because it's literally, okay, how quickly can I pop off before somebody else pops off and slap my dick on the table and be like, haha, I win.
Yeah, and
With just bullshit tactics, and it's just like, that kind of draws away from the fun that I enjoyed of, oh hey, we kind of have this nice mutual back and forth of, oh hey, this player's getting a little bit ahead, so everybody else at the table is going to kind of gang up on them and put you know push them down, put them back in the corner, and be like, no, don't do that. And then all of a sudden we have to decide, okay, who's the new threat, and there's this nice little like tug of war back and forth. And it's not like things spiral out of control if you don't deal with them like right now, this very second. It's like, okay, well, sometimes I got like 2 turns before you go off like a motherfucker, and sometimes I'm wrong and it ends up biting me. But it always felt like there was politics at the table, and it's just like, well, if I don't deal with this person right now, the game's just gonna end, kind of thing. It's like, oh, I got time. Or I can make deals with people, and we can kind of suppress this shit and make time. But when we kept upgrading our decks and it was getting more to the point of quote unquote competitive commander, it's like, yeah, I'm not enjoying this anymore.
I feel like Digimon is it's kind of that way for me. Like part of it is Bandai just literally does not know what they're doing and it's very like it's very painfully obvious. It's like there's design pitfalls that they keep falling back into, and then they keep changing the design team because somebody screws up, and then they uproot somebody and put a new person in, and then that new person makes the same exact mistakes as the old person. It's like Bandai literally just doesn't learn. And that's as literally as somebody who went through this type of stuff and understands it and was in the industry for like a hot second, a total of a year. The only like claim to my fame I could actually say I have. Like, it's just honestly infuriating. It's just like, oh, Bandai keeps printing and making these cards that are just fundamentally destroying the game from the inside out because of their sheer existence. But they felt like they were compelled to absolutely make these types of cards. And then they keep banning them. It's just like all the broken shit's the new shit. It's not the old shit. The old shit, for the most part, has been phased out, and there's just a few minor stragglers that, again, just complete and utter lack of judgment just decide to leave in. It's just like, oh yeah, we took care of all of the other zero-cost memory gain options, but this last one. And we're at a power threshold where the game, like, having too much memory could literally end the game in a single turn. Because you're just fundamentally able to do too much, and the consistency is so high, especially compared to other games, that it's honestly insane. It's because, like, if you stop and think about it, Digimon draws for Evo, and then we have effects that are not tutoring out cards, but we're still, like, at least keeping an even hand count. We're trading cards. And we're trading cards at such a rapid pace that, like, it's honestly insane at how consistent Digimon decks actually are if you just, like, objectively look at how much card draw is in them. So it's just like, Wizards just hit, not a modern, a standard card that helps with card draw. And it's just like, yeah, of course, because too easy and too much card draw makes decks too consistent, and then once decks becomes too consistent, it's basically just how quickly can I put together my bullshit, and then my bullshit just auto wins me the game. And I feel like that's where a lot of Digimon decks are. It's just like, they're boring. They're all incredibly boring. It's just like, yeah, I'm either going to try stalling you a couple of turns, so that way my bullshit just automatically wins me the game, or I just magically have all the cards I need because I've spent the first 2 turns digging and doing absolutely fucking nothing, and then I just have a 10-minute plus turn vomiting out a combo and degenerate loops that Bandai keeps hitting, but they keep printing. So it's just like, what? Stop printing them. It's that easy. Like, as dumb as it sounds, like, Wizards learned that lesson a long-ass time ago. If something is broken, stop printing it. Although Wizards went back on that, and they went back to printing broken mechanics to try to sell to modern players, but that's a different issue. But that, at least for a hot period of time, they learned, hey, people don't like Infect, let's not print Infect. People don't like Dredge, let's not print Dredge. And, like, that's why the Storm Scale existed, and it was a tool for them to learn what basically not to redo. And, like, Digimon, unfortunately, just keeps falling into the same fucking pit holes every single time. And it's just absolutely infuriating to the point where it's just like, I like the game still, but it's hard to want to really try to actually play the game, like, at any competitive level, because it's just that infuriating. Like, this is going to be a really hot take. It's honestly almost as bad as how Buddy Fight ended. It's not that level of bad. It really isn't. It's not Yu-Gi-Oh! Levels of stupid. But we're approaching there very quickly, and it's not the type of gameplay I enjoyed. I tried going back to Yu-Gi-Oh! I tried Salamangrates like a year or 2 ago, and it was just the same degenerate things, where it's just like, I'm just gonna enact my 1-card combo starter to vomit out a 10-plus minute turn of me just going into my deck, pulling out a card, special summoning it. It special summons another thing. I go into my extra deck to do a link, and then the link special summons something else. It was just like, I hate that type of gameplay. I hate it. And the fact that Digimon just progressively got there more and more and actively wanted to get there was my big issue with the game. It's just like, that's not what I enjoyed about Digimon. I liked the memory system, I liked the back and forth. But similarly to how Magic, blocking stopped mattering because of a couple of cards basically stating, yeah, blocking is objectively wrong to do here in every situation. Like, memory doesn't matter. So it's just like, I could give my opponent 10 memory, and yeah, they'll be able to technically do more with that memory, but putting them to one memory still means that I'm dead. Like, whereas before, there was a nuance to how do I put my opponent at specific memory thresholds, so that way, if I have the knowledge to understand what their deck is doing, I have the actual ability and skill to try to navigate their memory management. And that's completely erased from the game because of the stupid fucking cards that they keep printing.
I was
Like,
gonna
I'm
say,
sorry, this is gonna be very negative. But like, it's honestly how I feel. It's like the most truest way that I could express it, because it's like, with any card game, the resource system is the most important thing. And the second you start ignoring it is the second you're getting closer to Yu-Gi-Oh! And nobody wants to be Yu-Gi-Oh! But everyone wants to try to strive to get to Yu-Gi-Oh! Kind of like what we were saying earlier in the podcast with the Icarus effect. It's just like Digimon is flying so close to being one of the worst games I've played from starting off from being one of the best games that I played.
no, I was just gonna say, it seems like we talked about it in a previous video where, yeah, not only the Icarus effect, but also the fact that I feel like the design team has gotten themselves so far into a corner that, I don't know. I'd really have to objectively look at the mechanics and rules and a whole bunch of other shit, but objectively, I don't know how they could design new cards that not only will quote unquote compete with the current like pool, but also pull them out of the degenerate nonsense that they've kind of put themselves into. Because yeah, to your point, all the cards that are getting banned are all brand new cards that are just coming out, and you know I know as somebody who played Legacy in Magic that yeah, it used to be all the really old shit. That shit was broke as hell. That was where you got all the degenerate stuff, and every once in a while you saw a few new cards, but not really all that much. But then I remember, I don't know if it was you or who it was, but somebody pointed out to me that, oh, hey, most of the cards that people are seeing in legacy format decks are all, more than half of them are cards that have been printed within the last 3 years. And I thought, there's no way. That's impossible. That old shit's broke as fuck. And I actually went and looked. I was like, oh yeah, no, that's exactly right. Now most of the legacy decks are just running the absolutely most broken stuff that obviously is never going to get reprinted. Wizards are full of shit. You didn't hold to that, but they're printing new stuff that basically is looking at the old stuff and like, yes, what if we made this card better? What if we gave it an additional effect? What if we gave it better stats? What if we just made the effect even better? And it's like, why? Like, are you that concerned with the popularity of your game potentially just plummeting off a cliff, sinking and dying, that you are willing to risk breaking your game and losing, in my opinion, all of the casual players? Because obviously the casual players are going to be the largest, in my opinion, largest share of the market for your game. They're going to be the ones that are buying, they're not going to be buying a ton, but if you add up, 100 people that are buying, maybe a box worth of cards versus one dude who's buying a single case, it's like, yeah, those 100 people buying a box is going to outweigh this one guy buying a case. It doesn't matter if they show up all the time to locals or whatever. As long as they're, buying product and having a good time, they're going to keep buying product. So why would you want to ostracize those people in favor of the, your diehards? Obviously, your diehards are the ones that it's like, well, these are going to be the hardest people to make unhappy, and they obviously will buy more product. But you can't do that at the detriment of losing the largest chunk of your player base.
And I don't think like Digimon is losing its players. It feels like it's just at a slower incline. It just feels like it's increasing its player. I mean, I don't have the statistics to back this up, but I honestly think like the community, it was one of the best aspects of the game, and I feel like just I don't know. They're like I guess every community has a somewhat resistance to wanting to hear like critical things about their game, because most people take critical things as negative things when they're actually two completely different things.
Well,
Uh
it's just like the difference between giving criticism and attacking somebody. A lot of people will take criticism as, oh, you're personally attacking me. I don't like that.
yes. And like I was never trying to attack anyone. It's just I'm bringing up design flaws and criticisms with the game, where it's just like, hey, we don't have any way to handle delayed options. Are you gonna print anything that deals with that? No, no. Okay, you're just printing more of this broken degenerate bullshit. Got it. Oh, you're doing it differently so that way all of the options in the entire game that are being played are basically delegated to having delay effects. And if they don't have a delay effect, they better be doing something really fucking important, which unfortunately removal is basically dead. So this again is why it feels like Buddy Fight all over again to me, is because Buddy Fight used to have removal options, in a sense. I'm just going to label them as options. They're spells in Buddy Fight. But like the game at its end basically just evolved into who OTKs who. Like it honestly was just Yu-Gi-Oh, where except it had a resource system, and there was a little bit more like actual defense in the game, to where it's just like, okay, it's not all about hand traps and like lockout situations. It's just like, okay, I actually have some minor ways to be able to defend. But again, the advantage to the first player was huge because the amount of card draw and resource generation that we put in our final versions of Buddy Fight was like, it's honestly feeling very reminiscent of where Digimon currently is, where it's just like we kept trimming and trimming and trimming the fat of our decks to where it's just like you look at, I mean, obviously power creep is the thing, but like when we're starting to think about running 8, 10 rookies and say that's probably too many, but because, oh yeah, I might as well just set up these options, dig for my rookie while digging for all of my other pieces at the exact same time, and then when I magically find the cards that I need, I have all of the resources to basically vomit out a big combo turn. And a lot of decks are unfortunately like this at this point, and because of these options. It's just like, okay, I'm going to run 4 scrambles, or not 4 scrambles, 4 trainings, 2 memory boosts, 2 scrambles, and that generally covers the majority of what any stack-based deck is going to want. It's just like, yeah, I have 6 to 8 cards that are going to be digging me cards while giving the opponent nothing to react and respond with. And it's just like, what's the answer? A stupid rookie Floodgate that gets outed the second they digivolve into a level 4? Whoop-de-doo. Like, it literally doesn't do anything unless they don't have the ability to respond to it, but because the removal is so high on Digimon bodies themselves, and so many Digimon have native built-in removals, that these rookie Floodgates that are supposed to try to... They're not even supposed to try to stop. It's just a happy accident that they do try to stop some of the like more degenerate plays. And it's just really infuriating and really boring knowing that I don't actually have the ability to react and respond to the opponent, which is why like right now there is a deck called it's not really a deck, it's an engine. It's the Growl X engine, where the whole idea is you're using Growl X to basically kill himself. So it's a card that kills himself and then gives you value for when he dies, except the value comes from all of the on-deletes you've been stacking with him, and on top of that, it's all of the abilities that he also is going to be giving as a result, because he not only cycles, but he will replace himself with a level 3. And then the level 3 will gain a memory, the egg will let you grab back any basically in archetype card which is insane. I hate those rookies, and we don't have a whole lot, but it seems like Bandai's okay with printing them. It's like any deck that has ever touched the trash in a meaningful capacity in Digimon has usually lended to be problematic, especially if, again, the opponent has no actual way to react and respond. It's like that's why the Cerberus package was so broken, was because, oh, I'm going to put stuff in my trash. We just got a card that can interact with the trash, but it's not going to be able to be useful because it's on the timing that I'm not going to let you actually use it. So, like, what's the point then? Like, Digimon has a big trash problem where a lot of decks have access to the trash, and the trash is becoming more and more broken because we don't have any checks and balances to it. So it's just like, yeah, I don't have any. It's like with Magic. They've
It's
always,
the same issue with Dredge.
yeah, it's like that's what Dredge's issue was, and that's why a lot of people were playing Leyline of the Void and Rest in Peace and cards to hate on the trash is to try to stop Dredge. And
Good old
Wizards,
Bajuka Bog and Cage, and everyone would, if they didn't have that teched in as like a one of in their deck, you knew damn well that shit was in their sideboard for that specific reason.
right, and Wizards has came out and admitted that whenever they try to print grave-based mechanics, they'll always print grave hate to counteract that because they already understand how powerful the using the graveyard actually is, or using the trash, or whatever you want to call it. Like they
No,
already
it's insanely
understand that.
powerful. I mean, as far as I understand it, even in Digimon, if you can interact with the trash slash graveyard, that's literally just an extra hand. It doesn't matter if stuff goes there, as long as you have the pieces you need that interact with it. It's just like, I don't care what goes in there, because it's literally just an extra hand for me. I'm limited to 7 cards in my hand? Ha, no, I'm not. That whole pile of cards right there that's flip face up that you can look at, that's also in my hand at any time, which is
E-
insane. Is an insane statement to make in my, from a design perspective.
Right, and like Digimon from a design perspective has always had an issue managing that. Like it dates literally as far back as like probably BT6, to be honest, because you had the like this is going to go over most people's heads because most people didn't actually start playing all the way back then. But most people like what made Jesmon so good was the abuse of playing Sistermons for free. It was one of the few decks that actually was playing things for free. And that was a huge problem because very few decks were playing it for free. And the only way to counteract that was to literally outspeed it, which is why the bonds were highly prevalent and problematic in of themselves. So it's just like, okay, you have degenerate combos versus speed. And that's kind of just been Digimon's MO for like ever, was degenerate combos versus speed. And it's still prevalent even today. It's just more prevalent now because of the combos that we're playing with.
Well, and if I could backtrack a little bit, something that you said previously, if your deck has too much consistency, that just, if a deck becomes too consistent, that is literally the point at which it becomes, in my mind, tier 0, and your game starts falling apart. And I don't know, if we ever did this in any of the videos, but I know you're well aware of my hate versus tutor cards. I think tutor cards are the worst thing that you can possibly put in a game, because what is more consistent than literally playing a card that says, hey, I can just go look in my deck and grab the one piece that I need for my combo to just go absolutely bonkers. And I've had this discussion with multiple people. They're like, oh, well, tutors aren't that bad. And it's like, okay, if you play this tutor in this specific deck, what card are you going to go grab? That's right. You're going to give me a list of 3 cards that tutor is going to grab. Is it going to grab anything else? If it does, that is the most off the wall, like 0.1% that'll ever happen. 99.9% of the time, there's like 3 cards that is going to grab, and it's always going to be those same 3 cards. And it's like, at that point, the consistency is so insane that it's you're literally just fighting to see who builds combo faster, and it's like that is so unequivocally boring. It's the reason I hate infinite combos. It's the reason I hate tutors, because the most fun joy out of a game is the nuanced little bit of randomness of, oh, hey, this situation came up. Can I deal with it? Nope, my deck's not giving me the cards. Does it feel bad? Damn right it does. It does feel bad. But it makes every game feel unique and interesting and a new challenge. It's just like, okay, yep, he's going for the same thing. Can I stop him? No? Okay, well, shit, lost a combo. Ooh. To me, that's just so brain dead of, like, why am I even playing at this point if it's literally just a race to see if I can get to combo before him or if I can just prevent him from doing combo? Because some decks it's like, well, I stopped you. You literally can't go combo. What are you going to do to kill me? That's right, your deck doesn't fucking do anything. So you're not going to do anything. You're going to pick your cards up and say, we're going to game 2. And that is the most boring, lazy shit, and I fucking hate it. Doesn't matter what game it is. Hate
No,
it.
it's and like unfortunately Digimon for the most part is kind of just there, except like there's only one reaction window and that's for acing, and acing in general is like it's either insanely OP or does absolutely fucking nothing. And I think
I'm gonna
like
ace. What did it do? It absolutely won me the game. I aced. What did it do? Didn't do a fucking thing. I'm still losing.
right, and like sometimes they'll even, because everyone knows the ace window, sometimes they'll just be able to play around the ace, where it's just like, oh yeah, my Digimon when I Digivolve just kills your level 5. Cool. Did you have any Digimon because it targets the lowest level or the lowest DP or whatever? It's like, no, because we're on turn 2. It was my mistake for raising a Digimon. Oops, I guess I just lose the game on turn 2 because of that. Like, it's...
Should have been a better player.
I mean, apparently. And, like, I mean, I guess bricking does still happen in Digimon. Everything is hyper consistent. But, like, we're at the point where Digivolving is borderline free. Removal is so high that you reasonably can't keep anything on the field unless it has protection, or it's just so big that the opponent just actually doesn't have a response for it. And, like, it changed the game that I loved into something that I just don't care about. And, like, that's why it's so hard for me to find a deck that I enjoy, is because I don't, it took me way too long to realize this. I just don't enjoy the current power level of the game. And I'm not saying that they can't fix it. They very easily could, but it would take a very active, conscientious decision for them to fix it. It's like, one, they have to get rid of, they have to get rid of a lot of the delay cards. Like, the only ones that I think are acceptable is probably the memory boost. I think scrambles and trainings are a borderline mistake. They should not have happened. I think, like, the training style, or at least the scramble style of effect is okay on paper. Like, because it was designed to try to be a comeback mechanic. But obviously, just like Vexing Bobble, we're not using it like a defensive comeback mechanic. We're using it as an offensive mechanic, because there's 2 parts of that card. The first part says, hey, I'm going to accelerate, and I'm going to combo off. And this is basically just going to save me memory to make my cards more effective. And then the second part is, hey, this is the comeback mechanic where if I don't have anything on my field and you do, then I get the bonus of using this effect to put something onto the field. It might not be able to attack, but we have ways to just circumvent that now also. So it also just doesn't matter. So, like, it really shows that Bandai does not understand the game of Digimon. They don't understand the game that they made at all. And, like, it just takes a little bit of paying attention to understand what you should and shouldn't make. So, like, honestly, the first thing that they have to do, if they even remotely want to think about having a healthy game in the future, is get rid of the trainings and scrambles. Like, I hate those cards with the burning passion of 1,000 Sun. I think they're the dumbest thing they humanly could have designed. Like, because at least what makes memory boosts fair is, one, it's not a 100% refund, and two, memory gaining could be circumvented easier than reducing the Digivolution cost and playing Digimon out for free. Like, there's easier ways to deal with memory gain than those cards, because, oh, I can't gain memory here? Cool, I'm reducing my Digivolution cost, so your Floodgate that you're playing just doesn't matter. And you played the wrong Floodgate, so get wrecked. And not every deck is able to run the proper Floodgates, and, like, there's just some very clear balancing issues because of these cards. And, like, so that's step number one. They have to completely get rid of those cards. And then step number two is stop printing fucking combos. Like, stop printing hyper-degenerate things. It honestly is that easy. Where it's just like, oh, Growl X should never have existed. Just like how, all of the other Broken X antibody cards shouldn't have existed. Oh, here's a level 4 that dies and replays a level 6. Like, honestly, what the fuck were they thinking? And they're just like, oh, here's a level 4 that when it dies now, replays a level 3 Digimon. It's just like, okay, that's a little bit fine, but, like, if you actually look at just all of the level 4 Digimon, there's not a lot of level 4 Digimon that are playing Digimon out for free. So, like, they already have admitted that certain abilities happening too early is a problem. And it's just, and Wizards is now just learning that too, where it's just like, oh, we based the mana curve around Standard ordinarily is around 2 and 4 mana cards. Like, those are your power cards, is, like, usually 2 and 4 mana. With the current state of Modern, that design philosophy shifted to 1 and 3. And surprise, people were not happy with it being that powerful. Like, it was the same, it was almost no different than playing Pioneer, which is a supposedly a more powerful format. It's like, when your Standard is basically the same thing as one of your other formats, that's not a good sign. So, hopefully, I think Wizards is actually trying to course correct now that they actually understand their problem. And I think, like, part of my frustrations is Digimon doesn't acknowledge its problems. And if they do acknowledge their problems, they're way too late and way too slow to be able to react. And that's the infuriating part. It's like, you need to be more proactive if you actually care about the game. And that's part of the other issue, is I don't think Bandai cares about Digimon. Like, obviously, it's not their number one game. One Piece currently is, and they've put so much time and love into Gundam, because Gundam just feels like it's the best of every card game that Bandai's made in the past 5 years. It's just like, it has the life system that we all have been playing with. It has, like, not really a pseudo-evolution system, but utilizing, like, cards underneath for extra abilities. One Piece kind of has that with how Dawn work, but it's got, like, a pseudo leader type system. Like, it feels like everything that Bandai has learned from all of their TCGs, they just threw into Gundam, and it's just like, yeah, this is the best of everything that we've worked on. It solves so many issues, and that other card games just natively had it baked into their card design. It's like, right now, Digimon's security is at its all-time weakest because we can't run removal options, because we don't have the deck space for removal options, because it's better just to play accelerants than deterrents and control cards, and, like, the game really heavily rewards aggressive styles of play, which is why anytime they make a defensive deck, it usually sucks out of the gate. It's like, oh, this control deck takes 4 turns to get off the gate and going, and also requires cards sitting on the field. Well, 1, you're not going to have 4 turns, and 2, you're also not going to have a field. So how is this control deck actually supposed to work when those 2 things that it's trying to do, it just fundamentally can't even do based on the state of the game? So, like, and the only answer is, oh, just more power creep. Like, they honestly just need to rewind things and take a step back. Like, they have competent design in terms of, like, their decks and cards that they're making. Like, all of the Liberator stuff, I think that's incredibly well designed. They're all balanced at a certain power threshold, and all of them are not necessarily exceeding that power threshold, but none of them have been able to competitively do well outside of like minor cases here and there, because the decks everyone else is playing is just so much higher because they're just generic good stuff deck. It's like, here's generic engine deck and here's generic good card, good top end deck. Do these have nothing to do with any of each other from when they were made? Of course not. Because you're just abusing the best cards in the game. It's just like, yeah, so I'm using this engine because it allows me to Digivolve for free, store strip your Digimon, play Digimon out for free, multi-attack, and Floodgate all at the same time. And then my top end also is just more Floodgating and the extra kill power to close out games. And, like, other tech cards. So it's just like, wow, how original. And we've seen that for probably since EX5, where it's just like, that was really the set that was solidifying engines are better than actual decks that Bandai has been trying to craft. And I guess like the argument is like, yeah, but those are decks that Bandai's been crafting for us versus decks that players came up with through sheer ingenuity. But obviously the hyper generic good stuff deck, engine plus broken top end card, essentially is the formula. It's just like, pick your fastest engine and then pick your most broken top end card. And it just made deck building boring. It honestly did. It's just like, deck building, it's not like deck building is easy. It's just deck building is boring because there's specific things that we have to have in Digimon decks now in order for it to even remotely be thought of an actual deck. So, and there's a lot of decks that still unfortunately can't utilize some of those tools. So it's just like, okay, they're just not real decks. And people could say that they are at their locals, but like, who cares? That's their locals. Like, from a competitive player's perspective, those literally are just throwaway cards. It means nothing. And I get like what you said earlier, where the competitive player is the minority, but Digimon doesn't have that strong of a casual scene to begin with. We don't have a strong collector's market. We don't have a strong tabletop scene. Most locals are barely firing as is. I make it sound like Digimon's dead, but like it's not dead, but it's not thriving either. Like, certain communities in certain pockets obviously are thriving more than others, but I don't necessarily think Digimon is in that great of a spot, to be honest. And part of like why I've decided to like take a step back from YouTube is because part of it is I'm not enjoying the game like I used to. So my passion and drive is very much not there. The burnout is so real because I'm making content that I don't care about, and I'm only making it because I know it'll help other people. But when I'm not reaching the people that it's supposed to try to help, then it's just demoralizing to me, even if it's good content. Where it's just like, yeah, I made a good pre-release guide. I'm the only one who basically makes a pre-release guide. Is it a worthless endeavor because nobody really enjoys Digimon pre-releases? Yes. But I know people are going to search it up. I know some people are curious and interested, and I know this is going to be somebody's first like experience with Digimon. So I wanted to make it for those people, but then when I don't get the viewership, it's just like, why did I even waste my time doing the research, studying the set, putting together the video, just for it to not do well? Like, my channel has been stagnant for the past 3 years? Yeah, 3 years. So I attributed a lot of my channel's growth to the growth of the game. And, like, yes, obviously that's not the case now because there's so many other content creators and nobody's recommending me. Not that that's an issue, just because there is so many other content creators. But, like, my channel's been stagnant for 3 years. Like, I hit 4,000 subs in 2022. We're at 2025 now, and I haven't even hit 5,000. Like, in 3 years, I have not had borderline any growth, and that's also very demoralizing, because it's like, people don't care about the content that I'm trying to make when I'm making it to help other people. Like, that's literally the only reason why. I don't do any scummy tactics. I don't sell merch. I don't advertise. I, have advertisements for my channel. Like, at most, I just tell people, go watch this to help you. And that's it. Like, I made this to answer that specific question that I know you're going to have. And seeing that the channel obviously is not meeting its goal, it's not having any growth, my content hasn't been gaining any traction. It just sucks and it's demoralizing, and it's like, why am I even wasting my time here? And that's like the big reason why I'm thinking about stopping YouTube.
So, I mean, that's a fair question to ask. If the content that you're covering, aka Digimon in this case, you don't really care for the state of the game, and sounds like more or less actively, hate's kind of a strong word, but actively disagree with the state of the game, and you're not. You obviously have all the subscribers that you do have, but that the fact that it's not reaching more people kind of makes you ask questions, on the grounds of, well, is the game not, you know, is it not drawing more people to the game that, these people would kind of find their way here to me to provide them with informational videos? Are people just not seeking this type of content out anymore? Because there's multiple other people that are doing the same thing, and they just like it the way someone else does better. I mean, there's a lot of questions there to ask, but it's a fair question to say, well, if I'm not really enjoying the content that I'm for the most part cover, and I'm not seeing any growth or success on the other end for covering this content, why am I still doing it is a very fair question to ask yourself.
And it's probably taking me way too long to come to the conclusion that I need to stop and I need to ice my channel. Like, at this point, I keep telling myself, oh, we're just one ban and restriction list away from it being good. And then Bandai comes in with a very lackluster, mediocre ban and restriction list, and it's just like, okay, the next one's gonna be it. And then I realize, shit, we're 6 months out from the next ban and restriction list. That's half a fucking year to ban and limit cards that reasonably need to go, like, ASAP. Like, because certain cards shouldn't have been printed, and I get it, it's fine. They need to let the card, like, see if there's any way that the players can counteract it. And then when spoiler season comes, and it's just like, cool, this entire set means fucking nothing because it doesn't actually solve the problem, and sometimes it actually makes the problems worse. Or it just is in a perpetual state of nothingness where it's just like, yeah, these decks are fine. Is it better than what we currently have? No. Why am I bothering then? Why am I wasting my time? What, for fun? For flavor? Like, EX9 was a very bad set. It was very damaging for the game. It was not what the game needed. I'm not saying it needed to be a power crop set. I'm just saying it could have actually been better if Bandai actually bothered to take any time to ban and restrict their cards so that way they could let the set breathe a little bit more. And that's the big issue. Like, BT22 is just about to come out, and the majority of that set's fucking garbage. It's do-nothing cards. Like, the CS trait is cute. There's a lot of things that it can do, and a lot of, like, tools that it has access to, considering 60% of the entire set is dedicated towards one trait, and there's, like, at least 3 or 4 decks that could be made solely out of that just from the combination of cards. And there's probably more because of just how generic they're trying to make the CS trait as a whole. But in this grand scheme of things, like, the set doesn't matter. Like, it honestly doesn't matter because it's not on par with where the game currently is at. And Bandai very clearly told us we're not going to be banning and restricting things. Like, they actually have told us we hate banning and restricting things. We want to do it as little as possible. They didn't exactly say that, but reading in between the lines of their last developer note, that's exactly what they said. They don't want to be an active participant in their game, and that's not the mindset and mentality that they need to have if they're going to foster a good, healthy game. Because, they need to do more. Like, prizing's already dog shit. Yeah, prizing for competitive play is already dog shit. Like, this is the worst year for competitive I've ever seen. And, like, if I wasn't super busy with work, then I would try to have been competitive. Outside of the fact that I think the meta is just absolutely dog shit also. So, it just sucks. It really kills any buzz or joy that I have knowing that nothing is getting printed that matters because Bandai's not making their game any better.
Well, and I mean, I wouldn't disagree with their position of, well, we don't like banning cards. Most developers don't like banning cards because it's like, well, obviously, if we ban stuff that limits the pool, and if it's a big like flagship card, that's going to help. That's not going to help drive sales. But to that point, you should design cards better so you don't have to ban them. You need to do a better job in the design phase because then you don't have to ban the cards and you won't have that problem. But obviously, that's not where we're at. That said, considering the state of the game, just as a free ball question, what would you think if they just took the Vanguard approach?
What, on choice limiting everything?
No, just took the Vanguard approach. Just drew a line in the sand and said, "Yep, this is where Legacy, this is where premium Digimon ends, and we're going into standard Digimon starting here."
Honestly, like, with how low power the last couple of sets have been, it feels like they really have been trying to line up a rotation, but the big problem is that rotation isn't going to fix Digimon's problems because the game's already just been too power crept. Like, the newer cards are what's the problem 70% of the time. And, like, okay, you could get rid of, let's just say, blocks 1 and 2. You leave blocks 3, 4, and 5 for people to play. Sorry, we're already playing blocks 3, 4, and 5. If anything, we're playing blocks 4 and 5 almost exclusively. So, like, rotation literally doesn't fix the problem. And Digimon's, like, I think part of another big problem is Digimon's core design and rules is so resistant to alternative formats that are not time-stamped formats like Yu-Gi-Oh! To where there is no alternative way to actually meaningfully play the game, and then anytime Bandai attempts to do it, people either A, hate it, or B, it just never takes off and never gets any traction because they don't support it to gain any traction. So it's like, cool, you have all these wacky, fun alternative rule sets that just functionally don't matter. We're building these decks for a total of one little event, and then we're immediately taking them apart. And it's just like, I feel like Digimon is like so very desperately in need of this alternate format and for it to be supported, but Bandai doesn't want to put the legwork in to figure that out. And the community tries to put it, like, to put that together, but because they're not designers and they don't know and understand the game as well as other people or other designers, they're not going to put together a good format. Half the time, it's let's copy Commander. It's just like, ooh, riveting. If I want to play Commander, I'll just go play fucking Commander. I'm not going to play Commander for Digimon because it doesn't work. Like, I mean, you could force it to work, but then you're just a fan forcing it to work and hoping other people will partake in it and see how it is, and then everyone will realize at the end of the day, oh, the game's an imbalanced mess, this is not worth our time, and then abandon it like they've done in the past. So, like, I would like alternative formats. I would like a possible rotation if that actually was going to fix the problems with the game. Which, unfortunately, it isn't because, as of right now, like, sure, they could take a more active approach, banning and limiting cards. But, unfortunately, that's not going to slow down the pace of the game. And they have to figure out what is the pace that they're comfortable with, and they themselves feel like they don't know the answer and they don't have the answer. So it's just like, how can they reasonably balance cards around a particular power threshold or speed when they don't even have the faintest grasp of what speed they even want to go for? So, like, and that's why I think they really need to get rid of the trainings and scrambles, is because those cards single-handedly increase the speed and tempo of in which we play the game. They forever have changed and warped the game around those cards more specifically, because that's what's creating the new speed threshold, which then creates the new power threshold.
And when I said take the Vanguard approach, I was more saying just hard, just kill the game and start over from scratch. But
Honestly, that's what I'm hoping the app does. Like, I'm really just hoping the app just hardcore deviates from actual TCG, and they have like their own sub format based on the app. And unfortunately, I know that's not exactly going to happen. The app does have like app exclusive cards, but as of what we've seen right now, they're like beginning level, like all the way back to like BT 1 through 5 powered leveled, which isn't necessarily the highest. So, I don't know. I mean, I would like to see a reboot of the game. Like, to be honest, like, just, hey, we've learned from our mistakes. We're gonna, like, I don't want it to be like a Fusion World versus Masters situation, because that was awful in of itself, and I feel so bad for any Masters players. But granted, Masters was also one of the dumbest games I've ever attempted to play, because it was basically just like Yu-Gi-Oh again. Like, that Bandai knows how to make a Yu-Gi-Oh out of whatever IP they want to make it, and they'll have interesting mechanics and systems in place to deviate it from Yu-Gi-Oh, but it's still Yu-Gi-Oh at the end of the day. And I think like that's a big underlying problem. So I would like to see a reboot coming from the app and actually treat it like a proper reboot, where they can then do live balances and take a more active role in fixing their game, make sure cards just don't get printed for that type of game, so that way the fun can actually stay and remain. And I know they're not going to do that, which is unfortunate. And I have like borderline no faith in Bandai's ability to actually balance their game that they make. They've never been able to balance the games that they make, ever. And I don't necessarily think it's rocket science. It's just like there's certain abilities that they should just know inherently not to print. And what do? Print them fucking anyway. Oh, hey, memory gain is a problem, especially if we could do it for free and there's no actual cost to it. Sure, that's not going to have any negative ramifications at all. Gaining memory to digivolve when that's something that generally takes memory as an action to do? Pff, who cares? Spending, oh, at worst, you just don't have to spend memory on it. Still not great. Like, that's why, what's its face? In going back to a Magic example, like, Omniscience didn't get banned because in the last, like, standard ban and restriction update. And that's not necessarily because Omniscience is broken, because you could play every card from your hand for free when that card's on the field, but that card costs 10. It was the card that basically played that card, Omniscience, for 4 mana, that basically is what made Omniscience a powerful card to begin with. So, like, you have to kill a lot of the enablers, and you have to understand what the enablers are in order to kill them off, and Bandai's very clearly not doing that. At least not active enough to where it's making for a healthy experience. And I've said it multiple times. They need to ban and restrict cards every single main set, just like Dragon Ball Masters, because we're at that high of a power threshold where it needs to happen every update. Like, literally every main update. Otherwise, it's not going to matter. It's not going to have an impact. Like, they banned their last ban and restriction list, like, almost 6 months ago. Did basically fucking nothing. And it was a big joke. Like, they killed off 2 big combo decks, and then what do? Print more combo decks. It's just like, cool, we just shifted from one degenerate combo deck abusing the trash to another one. Nothing has changed. Literally nothing has changed. And I was trying to highlight that in my, like, 1 year later, the problems with Digimon video part 2, Electric Boogaloo. And, like, that's a point that I don't think I was able to get across, is literally nothing has changed. And in fact, things have only gotten worse because they introduced more broken cards into the game that are, like, circumventing the fundamental rules of how Digimon was supposed to be played. Like, I honestly think peak Digimon was BT13. That was probably peak Digimon. And that's when problems were starting to emerge in terms of, like, how things were, not necessarily being designed, but, designs that were propping up. But again, it was just such a minor level because they were just starting to prop up and nothing was able to hyper abuse them to an egregious degree where they actually were a problem. And it's all of these like hyper generic and hyper efficient engines that started making cards more problematic than they reasonably should be.
Well, I mean, that just goes back to the conversation we had in the one video where why why have rules in the rule book if you're just going to actively, quote unquote, throw the golden rule on all of your cards that say, yep, just ignore that. Yep, just ignore that. Well, why the hell would you do that? Just do this instead. Just ignore that. And it's just at that point, because the whole point of your rules are to help constrain, it's supposed to cause limitation in your game and make it play the way that you want it to. But if all you do is throw the golden rule on everything, every single fucking card, it starts making you ask the question, why do we even have rules to begin with? Because at this point, we don't follow any of them. So,
and
what's the point?
Right, and it's really disheartening when I see my brother go to locals. He's playing Ghosts as an example, and he's just like, I built this deck. The set it came out, it wasn't very good. It's not winning. I'm okay of a pilot on it because I played it enough to understand some of its nuances, and it's still just fundamentally not good enough. And it's just like, you are correct. The deck you decided to build and invest in is fundamentally not good enough. It is a brand new deck. And, like, the game has just already moved past half the shit that they've already made. And they're not letting their game actually have any time to breathe when it comes to new cards because, or like some of the newer cards, because the cards that, like, it's weird. I know I've said that the new cards are broken and the old cards aren't doing good, but they're printing newer cards that are not broken on the same levels as the new cards that we just got. So it's like, I know it sounds a little confusing, but like there's like this mid area of newness where that's where the broken shit is. It's just like when EX5 came out, those were the new cards and those were the broken cards. Now EX5 is still kind of broken, but those aren't the new cards anymore, and the cards that they have printed still aren't necessarily on that same level. It's like, what the fuck are we doing here then?
No, it's like my favorite story to hear about in Weiss. Persona 5 set came out. Was it Persona? No, not. Maybe it wasn't Persona 5. Maybe it was JoJo. It's one of those. I'm pretty sure it was JoJo. The JoJo Golden Wind set came out, and everyone was just like, it's fine. It's whatever. It's not great. And then literally the very next set is Data Live, which absolutely fundamentally just destroys the entire meta of the game because it is that fucking broken. And you just kind of look at JoJo and it's just like, what happened? Why are you so bad? And this is so broken that they have to come out with a ban and restriction list to hit literally, I could be mistaken, but it seems like there was 3 or 4 cards just from that set that they had to ban because the deck was that toxic.
And like, at least they were able to look at that and act more proactively rather than, oh well, it's our 6-month time, we're going to do our not scheduled ban and restriction update. And
well, in fairness, I don't know how long it took them to ban said cards, but that set came out in, what was it, 2018, 2019, and most of those cards are still sitting on the ban list. But yes, they did take action once it became very apparent this is a big problem.
And I get that usually it'll take like a set or two for everyone to figure it out, but realistically it only takes one set. Like, the meta, because of how, it's not even how many games are played. Like, I was going to relate it to Pocket, where it's just like, Pocket's meta is solved literally within 2 weeks because of just the deck size and how optimized things become very quickly, on top of the game speed. Like, because games are so short, it makes it so you could play more games, so that way optimization happens even faster. And it's not necessarily exactly that for Digimon, but like because Digimon is pretty easy to pick up and play and figure out, it usually isn't super hard to figure out like some of the more degenerate stuff that the decks and cards can do. It's just like, oh, this promo Gallantmon can delete any Digimon and it has Rush. So that way I'm using it in an unintended way to delete my own Digimon, because usually you want to do things to the opponent, not to yourself. So it's just like, oh, I'm going to play this effectively zero cost Digimon that's going to delete my own Digimon, get me a whole bunch of extra benefits because I'm triggering my own on delete effects. And then on top of that, I still have this Rush body that's also relatively large left onto the field. Cool. That's totally easy and not broken. And a lot of decks totally aren't abusing that same exact engine with those same exact cards. Like I broke it down, and it's just like, yeah, these decks are exactly the same. They're labeled differently because they're using slightly different level sixes, but they're fundamentally the exact same deck using the exact same play patterns and doing the exact same thing. It's just the level 6 is different and maybe a supporting level 5 is different. And that's it. That's the only difference between these decks. Other than that, they're exactly the same. And I think that's boring. That cannibalizes not only Digimon's colors, but deck design as a whole. Because if you fundamentally, if this is fulfilling that role, there's no other room for that role to exist outside of that one specific deck. Because the deck is just so optimized.
Yeah, I mean, then you run into the issues of, oh, well, if we just print hyper generic cards, what's the point of having archetype decks? Because if the generic stuff is good enough, why not just run it? Yeah, you could run into situations where this specific card is obviously just ever so slightly better. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's one situation. Is the rest of the deck good enough to compete with this nonsense over here? Just because you have one card that has a generic version that's a little bit better? Again, maybe. Chances of it being true, kind of low, because there's a lot of potentiality once you can start just saying, yep, here's the engine, here's my favorite card.
Basically,
Problem solved.
that's essentially what the
But
game has
to
turned
the
into.
yeah, but to the point of the balancing, I think at least with Bushi, I think they generally wait for a couple of rounds of like regional tournaments to kind of see what's topping. And I think generally what they do is they take a look at that and say, yes, this tournament's top eight, five of the decks were all the same deck from the same set. This regional, four of the topping decks were all this deck from this set. And they just kind of point, they take that data into account. Generally, they take, official tournament data, and once they see a pattern, it's like, okay, obviously there's something here. This is a little bit too prevalent in the meta that's topping. Why is it topping? Is there anything we can do to hit it? Which is why I think digital card games, as much as I love to, and I know you love to back in the day, shit on Hearthstone for terrible design choices, they had all the power. They could literally, they could literally just go in and see, what are all the top players in our for the month or for the week, whatever, probably for the month, because that's just a big accumulation of data if you want to use it. What are they all using? What decks are they running? How often are these decks winning? They could very easily get that data. It's so simple. It's all literally in a database. It's all electronic. It couldn't be easier. And they could say to themselves, yes, this deck has a 60% win rate overall. Seems like it's a problem because it literally just means if I play this deck enough, I can be gold tier or I can be diamond tier. I just gotta play it enough. I just gotta grind. That's not really a good place for you to be. And you might have one rogue deck that's out there somewhere that's like, yes, if I see this deck, I'm gonna absolutely nuke it. Well, what else does that rogue deck beat? Absolutely nothing. I'm literally just hoping to see the meta deck. That's it. If I see anything else, I'm going to pick my cards up, shake my opponent's hand, and say, good game. We didn't play anything. That doesn't matter. I was going to lose anyway.
Uh, yeah,
But the
I
other
mean,
nice thing with digital games, too, aside from card games, though I don't think most designers do this with their digital games, they have the power to literally just change the text on a card as they see fit. They don't gotta reprint it. I mean, yeah, technically physical card games do that too with errata, but one, you kind of have to know that the card's been errataed, and two, you got to figure out how to get the errated cards. Otherwise, you literally have to like do something, make a note that yes, this card is now the text on this card is no longer the exact text on the card. They added this text, or they changed this text, or literally the cards are not even the same card anymore because they changed everything about it. Digital card games have that power. They can just go in and be like, "Yep, this card is a little bit too good. It says any, so we're going to change it to target." And, whatever the context of the game, that could be a very big change. Absolutely perfectly balancing the card, maybe.
that's partially
But
why I'm like holding out for the mobile app to be coming out, the digital version of the Digimon TCG. That's probably when I'm gonna like thaw out my YouTube channel, because that seems like it would be a good jumping back in point. And I'm not saying I'm gonna like be done playing Digimon. I'm still gonna go to locals. It's just I'm done caring about content that's not getting watched, and like nobody seems to care about it. So I'm so tired. I'm so tired of the effort. That in work has only just gotten harder and harder for me, where it's just like I'm working some Sundays, which takes away from my locals day, so then I can't record, and it's just like I I just can't. I can't support YouTube the way that YouTube needs to be supported. It's not my full-time career. It's a hobby, and it's a hobby right now that's making me feel miserable because I'm not enjoying the game. I'm forcing myself to do things I don't want to do just for the sake of content. And the stuff that I do feel passionate enough about making a video on, nobody cares. Like, that's it. So that's why I'm calling it quits, or for like putting it on pause for the time being, is to like reevaluate, reassess, and pray and hope Bandai doesn't fuck the game up like they currently are doing. Because I honestly don't think that the game is going to be, if they're continuing down the path that they are, I don't think the game is going to be very new player friendly or very accepting, and it's going to run into a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh styled issues, which I hate to say and compare it to Yu-Gi-Oh, but that's worst case scenario for any TCG, is you become Yu-Gi-Oh. Buddy Fight basically became Yu-Gi-Oh, which is partially why it died. It was still selling, but Bushiroad was just like, it's not worth us developing anything else for this game because it's too powerful. Like they would have to pull a Vanguard and reboot the game, and like technically right now it's getting a tie reboot, but that's a different story for a different time.
hit it, Icarus.
It,
You got to the sun.
literally the game ended on, can I OTK you? Yes or no. If I can OTK you, I probably win the game. If I can't OTK you, I'm probably losing the game. Like that's basically how binary Buddy Fight got towards the end. And then they have this anniversary set that magically fixes a lot of the issues with the game, where it's just like, oh yeah, we put more defensive cards in to take out the OTKs and make them less prevalent. And it's just like, well, gee, that would have been nice to have, like, as the game was dying.
No. We needed the retrospection of the game being dead for quite a while before, it all came to us, and we were just like, we are here to correct the sins of the past.
Yeah, and now Buddy Fight's gonna be in fucking Vanguard. I don't know how exactly that's gonna work or play out, but like, it has me interested because I did like a lot of the characters and how Buddy Fight played. Like, it seems like a lot of the games that I enjoy, their core gameplay is fundamentally rock solid. It's just power creep happens to absolutely destroy the game that you loved. Granted, I jumped in to Buddy Fight like a year before it actually died. So I was already playing Buddy Fight at a high level, like a high power threshold. Apparently, like, if you break it down by the anime seasons, the X season is when things started to get fucked up real quickly. and Ace did not fix any of the problems, but I digress. Uh, and like Digimon is going to hit a issue within a year or two where it's just like they're going to run out of design space unless they slow down the game. And I'm not saying rotation's going to do that, but right now the easiest, like right now is the time they should be paying the most attention to the game and treating it with with their due diligence and respect to make it a good experience to go forward with. But because they're actively choosing not to and they're doing the more passive approach, they're letting the game rot and fester, and then they're making bad, not only business decisions, but like design decisions to just make the problems even worse. So it's like cards like Medieval Gallantmon. It's like we all hate those types of cards, but like they didn't need to make that. They didn't need to make Growlmon X. They didn't need to make like all the Sakuyamon bullshit. They didn't need to have the complete and utter design failure of how Royal Knights turned into, because that was a card that was designed for a specific time frame. Like this card was not designed with these new mechanics in mind, and these new mechanics are breaking this specific card in half, making it even more powerful than it reasonably should be. And there's a lot of that, where it's just like, it's the new cards breaking the old cards, rather than the old cards being broken themselves. Because it's all about the context of how a card is being played and used, in which its power is actually measured. So, like, that's why it's really easy to point to specific cards in decks and be like, all right, if you want to kill the deck, you hit this card. If you want to neuter the deck, you hit this card. Which one are you going to attempt to do? If you neuter the deck, it's still playable, but it still might be a problem in the future, or, like, I don't know. I don't necessarily think it's super hard, but Bandai sure is making it look very fucking difficult to balance their game and create new and interesting designs, and letting those new and interesting designs actually have breathing space to warrant actual play. Because right now, a lot of the top decks in the current format, like, yes, we have a metric-wide variety of Tier 2 decks, but they're all being constricted to Tier 2 because the Tier 1 decks are keeping them there. And they'll have minor success maybe breaking into top 16s when they're not a Tier 1 deck. And the list of Tier 1 decks is not very big. So that's kind of like my giant soapbox on the issues with the game, and like why I kind of just am tired and want to stop doing YouTube for a minute is because I'm not having fun. I'm not having fun making the videos. Nobody's watching my videos. My channel's been stagnant for years. So, and I'm putting all of this effort into essentially what's amounting to nothing. And it's just very demoralizing. And I care so much about the game. I really do. This is honestly the last TCG I will actually play. Like, that's how much I like this game. And it sucks that nobody really sees that from me. And yes, part of it is because I am critical, and most people, like you said, take the critical aspect to basically make it out as a personal attack when it doesn't need to be. Like, I'm just judging the game. I'm not trying to judge your enjoyment of the game, but because I'm judging the game that is judging your enjoyment, and like that's why people don't like me and my channel, is I feel like I just built too much of, not really ill will, but
animosity, perhaps.
Yeah, this like negative persona that I just hate the game. And it's like, it's the exact opposite. I hate the direction of the game. And I thought the new designer was actually going to like mend and fix a lot of the issues that the old one left, but she's doing just as bad a job as the other one, where it's just like, yeah, you have a lot of good, fun, interesting stuff. So like maybe she's just better at the whole multimedia aspect of it, rather than like more than the other guy. I don't know this full situation and context, but I don't have any faith in her anymore. I really don't. I want to have faith in her, but she has so far this past year proven that she either is not able to do what she needs to do, or doesn't understand and can't do what she needs to do in order to fix the game. And like, I keep saying it, we're just always so close from the game being really good. And every single time they just miss the mark, and the game just remains in this perpetual state of awfulness where it's not fun to play, it's boring as sin, the decks are unenjoyable, uninspired, and just borderline broken to the point where it's not engaging. And that's exactly what I don't want in my games. So, outside of the app, I really don't know where to take my channel if I were to even continue doing YouTube. I really don't. Like, I thought about doing Pocket content, and like, I'm probably just gonna have Pocket in the background just because I wanted to grind some of my daily stuff and grind some stuff for the next pack coming out. But like, Pocket's not a good content game. So I'm not going to be transitioning to Pocket. I don't know. Maybe I just don't transition to anything, and I wait till the mobile app and hope the mobile app is good, and then see the traction on the mobile app, and then kind of go from there. Like, that's most likely the game plan. Because
I was going to say, based on everything you've said, I think the best game plan is to just say, I'm calling it for now. I'm going to take a step back, and I'm just going to observe.
Like,
and if there's something that I see that makes me happy, we'll be back.
Basically, because like, even right now I'm noticing with my podcasts, like, I'll have good topics and good conversational points, but I don't think I'm doing them justice. And the last batch of podcast episodes that I did, I really was not happy with. I walked away with them where it's just like, that was awful. That was legitimately terrible. I felt like I could have done a better job. Not solo, but like, I felt like there was the ability to do this better, and I just completely and utterly botched it. And it hasn't even been
our
making...
last one? I thought our last one was pretty good.
No, our last one was fine. It's just... And it's no bash on any of the co-hosts that I've had over the years. Like, it honestly is no bash to them. I think I'm just terrible at podcasting, because I noticed that I'm not talking to the other person and actually having a conversation. I'm talking at the audience, and I think that's the wrong approach. Like, I want to have conversations, but my YouTube brain, when I hit that record button, I kind of just seem to forget that, and I talk to the audience, and I think maybe that's part of like where my content goes wrong, is like, I'm not relatable enough, or I'm talking down to them when I don't mean to. I don't know. I feel like my recording style could very easily be cleaned up, and I need to find a better way of doing that, because right now I'm not even happy with my own content. Like, in terms of watching it, because I do watch myself because I have to, because that's how editing works, and I'm just like, man, this just sucks. Like, I'm not very engaging. I want to be, but I don't know how to be. And like, it's not like there's this is how to be successful on YouTube guide that's like super easy for everyone to follow. Otherwise, everyone would do it. So
I imagine there's probably thousands of those videos out there. They got to be right?
I mean, there are videos out there where it's just like, this is what I did to be successful at YouTube. It's like, I know how to be successful at YouTube, because that's how I got monetized to begin with. You spam and shit out content left and right, disregarding of its overall quality, and you just go for sheer quantity and consistency of the uploads. And that's how you get successful, is you have barely good enough of a setup to where your content is watchable, and you just crank out shit after shit, and that's it. That's the number one way to find not instant success, but to end up successful on YouTube, because like, that's essentially what I did in the earlier stages when my channel was a buddy fight channel. I didn't hit the 1,000 mark because of Buddy Fight. I hit it because of Digimon. But um all I was doing was just shitting out content left and right because I had the time and ability to do that because my job was different back then. And now that my job's harder, it's harder to make videos, which means it's also harder to gain traction. And it's just it's compounding issue after compounding issue, it feels like. And I feel like I'm in a death spiral that I just can't escape from until something gives. And I think my mental health is the one that's going to be giving first before me figuring out a way to actually shit out more content. Because I could do deck profile after deck profile every single day after work. I have a time frame where I could do it. But that's not enjoyable for me, and I don't know if it's enjoyable for my audience. Like, obviously, some of the more popular content is my deck profiles, but I'm just... Digimon just is boring me when it comes to deck building. It's just like, I'm bored shitless. I am honestly bored shitless with playing, building, and making content. I mean, there's tons of topics that I still want to make content on, but I don't feel like I can do them justice. And that's maybe that is a me problem. 100% a me problem. But I also feel like at this point, even if I do make them and they're topics that I am passionate about, nobody's going to watch it, and then I'm going to see it, and then I'm going to feel really bad that nobody watched it.
I keep the moral bank in high value.
Yeah, because, like, it's just, YouTube is just so demoralizing as a platform. It really is. Like, if you can't keep up, you just kind of have to get out, unless you just don't care about the numbers, and you realistically only don't care about the numbers when you're not monetized. And then the closer you get to monetization, the more and more you're going to care about those numbers, and then when you see the numbers go up and up and up, that basic psychology says that feels good. Like, it's just basic psychology. So when you don't see numbers go up and you remain stagnant for years, it's just like, it's brutal. It's so brutal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do YouTube, so I don't have a leg to stand on there, but it makes perfect sense if, it's just like why children tend to gravitate towards the card games where they have the big numbers, because big numbers make the kids happy.
Yeah, it's just...
Is it easy for them to, do things with big numbers? No, not really. It's so much easier to just think of, well, this month, the Blue Eyes White Dragon, he's got 3,000 attack. Well, realistically, I can make that simpler, just get rid of all the zeros, or as many of the zeros as I can, make it a smaller number. It's easier to figure out, but a big number makes me feel happy.
Yeah.
And with big number not doesn't keep happening, and I know that there's the potential for big number, but all I keep seeing is single digits. It's like, this does not fulfill the satisfaction.
So that's kind of the long and short of why I'm probably gonna stop the podcast, stop YouTube, and just wait and see on what's gonna happen. Just to save my own mental sanity from this, and maybe figure out a way to maybe make better content. I don't know. Like, honestly, TCG content feels super limited, and whenever I do a design topic, it either takes too long or just doesn't perform. And, like, not to shit on other content creators. I know some of them are doing it, but I don't think they're good. Like, I honestly do not think they're good. Either that or they're spouting pure lies. And it hurts my soul. It really does. Like, part of the reason why I don't watch other YouTube, like, Digimon YouTube content creators is because there's nothing I can actually gain from them. Nothing they can say will actually, one, change my opinion on something, or two, educate me that I don't know, because I have to research the same fucking things. So it's just like, it kills my drive to even look at other people's content and see what they're doing. Because it's just like, oh, I see somebody made a podcast. Cool, I've had my podcast for 2 years. I don't care about what they have to say. And most of the time, they're way more casual of a player than I am. And maybe I need that casual perspective. But at the same time, it's just like this game is where it's almost to the point where casual is basically dead. Like, you could play casual, you could always play casual in any game. But like, you go to a locals, somebody brings any top tier deck, you're probably getting your ass kicked, and it's gonna feel really bad. Like, when I tried to play Dragon Ball Super Masters, when I tried to play Yu-Gi-Oh, couldn't do it. Those games were just too complicated. Not for various different reasons. Like, both of them were mechanically like insane to play, and Digimon's a lot easier of a game. But like, when you have to know how to play in very specific ways, and those specific ways aren't necessarily fun or engaging, it's just like, how can I actually recommend this to a new person? Like, it makes it very difficult to. Because I know
even
there's...
if you have a hard time recommending the game, it goes back to earlier in the conversation. It's hard to make content about a game. If you don't enjoy where the game is at, you're not going to enjoy playing the game. If you're not going to enjoy the thing that you're doing, and you're going to make content over it, you're not going to enjoy it. It's just like, again, I'm going to bring up a really obscure old reference, but I remember back in college, the frickin' like intro to art class, somebody asked, I don't think you were in my class, but in my particular class, one of the students asked, they're just like, hey, why are we like all the assignments and stuff are around like drawing characters? Why don't we focus on, drawing this or drawing that, or, why don't we practice this? And the professor had a very simple answer. He's just like, if I told you to draw those things, would you be excited about drawing those? Well, not really. All right. Are you excited when I tell you that the assignment is about drawing a character, and it could be, you could be your OC, it could be whatever. Are you more excited about that? Well, yeah, that is. And then hence the reason why I tell you to do those types of drawings, because it makes you're excited to do them. And if you're excited to do them, you're going to be more inclined to not only do it, but enjoy the process of doing it, and you're going to probably come out with a better outcome because you give a damn about it. If you don't care about what you're doing, you're just going to fulfill, here's my bullet point list. I got to do A, B, C, and D. Damn, I'll be a son of a gun. We hit A, B, C, and D. Is the end result absolute dog shit? Yes, it very well could be. But we hit all the points. We succeeded. We passed. Do I care? No, because I really had no stakes in the game. Because I don't care. If I don't care, I'm just checking off bullet points on a list. And if you ever, I guess in my mind, if you ever get to that point where it's, I don't care enough about the thing I'm doing, I'm literally just doing it because something or someone told me I have to, and I have to hit bullet point A, B, C, and D. I mean, I can do it. It's gonna be shit.
And right now, nobody's telling me to do YouTube. And if anything, people are telling me to stop doing YouTube. Like, that's the other big thing, is just like, people are telling me to stop. Like, both from a family sense and like a community sense, where it's just like, I'll put out a video and then somebody will bash on me. And it's just like, I'm trying to help people and you're attacking me. That doesn't make me feel very good to want to try to help people. And like, sure, the video might not be for you, but it's there for somebody who wants it. And I usually target very specific subjects and topics and decks on purpose. And like, yes, I'm going to lose the race when it comes to some of the more like popular decks, but like, I do it not for that specific person. I do it for somebody who would want either my perspective as a competitive player, as a card designer, or and the style of videos that I make. Because like, I hate just the fucking lazy, I'm just going to show my deck on camera and you're not going to be able to read any of the fucking cards. I hate it. I will almost never do paper deck profiles because of that. Almost never. It's awful. It's terrible content. And again, it's just meant for the churn and burn. That's all it's meant for. And like, that's where I felt like I differentiated my content from others, was like, oh yeah, I have this spot where I do digital deck profiles. I do them in a way where you could actually see everything. The decks are well crafted and semi tested, because meta's going to change and things are going to happen to where, like, yeah, I wasn't looking at a particular tech when I made that video, but whatever. And I try to future proof my videos as much as possible, where it's just like, yeah, I know this is going to be coming out, so I'm going to mention it is as a segment. So that way, if you look at that video right now, you could prep for the next set. Or if you look at that video in post one set behind, then you already know what to expect as far as changes going into the current set. So, like, and I get mediocre results because, again, I don't have the traction. People don't like me as a content creator, and that's also partially demoralizing. It's like when people tell me to stop doing it. It sucks. It honestly sucks. And I'm not trying to hurt or harm anyone. I'm not trying to hurt or harm the game. But the community is just, sometimes there's always bad actors in any community. That's true no matter what. And it sucks seeing those bad actors like be the vocal minority. And like I can't even say it's a vocal minority because again, my numbers aren't reflecting anything's changing. No matter how many times I ask my community, what kind of content do you want to see? Or how should I approach this style of content? Like I ask them nonstop. Well, not necessarily nonstop, but I ask them enough, probably more than the average content creator, because I value their feedback. I value their time. I can't say that about most other content creators. They're just like, just watch my video. And that's it. Like, I just want you to watch my video, give me my clicks, give me my money. Oh, buy my merch. Like, I stopped doing that because it didn't feel right. Because I'm not doing this for a living. I was doing it for fun. And now the game's not fun. Content's not fun. And a lot of people I feel like just hate me. And it hurts. It really does hurt.
Well, I know I've mentioned to you on a few occasions that maybe you not necessarily stop making content, but just take a break from it. Because again, there was points where like in this conversation right now, you weren't having fun doing it, and you're just like, oh, I'm not really sure if I could make this content, but it just doesn't seem to do all that well. But I can do this content, which does seem to do well, but I'm not really a fan of doing it. And it's like, just take a break. Just take a break. Get yourself in a good mental headspace. Reset yourself. Sit down. Ask yourself, what do I want to do? Because at the end of the day, if you're not having a good time making the videos, you probably just shouldn't do it. In all honesty, whether people dislike you, whatever. Honestly, yeah, to a certain extent, their opinions probably matter a little bit to the success of the channel. But at the end of the day, it's just like, well, these people don't like me. Whatever.
I mean,
They're entitled to their own opinion. I am entitled to my opinion. If they don't agree with me, they dislike something about me, that's on them. I'm not here to fight them on it. Whatever.
and I'm usually one to just not care about people's opinions or perspective of me. Like I already don't have a high opinion of myself, but that's because I do the thing that I'm never supposed to do, and I was told not to do it, especially in college, comparing myself to other people. Never do that, by the way. So, but I unfortunately just get into the mindset where I do it too much, and I'm like, I just I just want to emulate a little bit of the success that they had, not to make me feel good or anything, but so that way I know that I'm reaching people to be able to help them in a sense. Like, and I guess like maybe I'm thinking too much of I just need to help people because people just need to be helped. Maybe that's a bad mindset to have that I wasn't really thinking of, but like I know new players are entering the game all the time, so like it's hard for me not to try to cater my content to newer player to try to help them, and only for people to just shun, ignore, and not recommend me, and it just sucks. It's just like, yeah, I get there's other people that are more popular, but like there's still good content creators that are like under the radar. And I've been in the space as far as like Digimon TCG YouTubing longer than most people, and I've seen basically all of my peers. I'm going to label them as my peers because we all started around the same time. I saw them all leave. And one of the biggest reasons why they left was because they weren't having fun with the game anymore. There was something about the game that just turned them completely off. And like there's still content creators that are making content that are having this mentality where it's just like, I'm just going to throw this out. I would rather just play Pokemon Go than play Digimon. Like, that's an opinion somebody has. And I'm not disregarding that opinion because they have seen the game at its highs. They've seen the game at its lows. They know the direction that the game is headed in. They're not stupid individuals either. So it's like, I get it. The game is not what you fell in love with, and right now it's definitely not what I fell in love with. Like, if I wanted to go play Yu-Gi-Oh, I would just play Yu-Gi-Oh. To be honest. Like, that's why a lot of people will, like, shift from Bandai card game to Bandai card game, especially when new ones come out, and that's why Bandai has, like, such a big success rate when it comes to, like, making new TCGs, but they have such a poor track record of keeping TCGs. Is because they reach just a very quick point where the game is just power crept, and what drew a lot of people in is no longer drawing people in. Like, if it wasn't for the Digimon IP, I would have left this game probably 3 years ago. 2-3 years ago. Easily. Without a hesitation. But because I love the Digimon IP so much and I want it to succeed, because Bandai loves hurting its fans and its players. They love treating Digimon fans, more specifically, like absolute dog trash. Like, we have to fight tooth and nail just to get any sliver of news, announcements, hope for anything. And this year did seem like it was the big year for Digimon's comeback. And Bandai has been doing nothing but squandering the opportunities that they've been given and they've set themselves up for. And it hurts. It just hurts seeing so much mismanagement that it just absolutely destroys the things that you enjoy about it. So
that would make for an interesting thing to see is player data, new players coming into the game versus the retention rate. Because yeah, that's a very good defining trait for a game. If you can pull a lot of players in, great. If you can't keep them around, then I mean you could make the argument, well, if we can pull players in just as fast as they leave, then we'll be fine. And I don't know, controversial opinion. I think that's where Magic is currently. Their original sets are just so non-existent that Magic has literally just become the Fortnite of card games. Look who we're doing a secret lair with. Look who's getting a full-on set. Look at these huge IPs we're pulling in. Okay, Magic, what about your IP? What about the Magic universe? Yeah, we don't give a shit about that. Look at all these cool crossovers we're doing. Look at all these people we're pulling in. Uh-huh. Okay, well, as neat as it is to see, this isn't the Magic that I remember. So I'm just gonna kind of check out now. See ya.
yeah. And I'm not saying, like, crossovers is going to save Digimon. I think that's the exact opposite, because I'm in the mindset where when a game does a crossover, one of two things happens. Either one, it's its death sentence, and they're doing the crossovers just to try to grab any piece of relevancy that they can. And from that perspective, if it works, then the game is forced to do nothing but crossovers for its future, because they lost the hope of the players when it comes to their own original content, to where they needed the IPs to begin with. So that's why, like, Wizards is doing all of these IP crossovers. That's why at Buddy Fights Ends they did all of these IP crossovers. That's why, like, a lot of games, you could even see it with Battle Spirits. They tried to do IP crossovers at the very end, did not work. I think Ava was the wrong one to do it with, but there was probably a cheap enough IP where it's just like, yeah, everyone knows and everyone loves Ava Galleon. So it's a cheap IP because because Gainax is going bankrupt. So, like, it just makes sense for us to do it. But what they failed to understand was it's not the fact that the game is it is a fact that the game is failing, that they have to do it, but they don't understand how the game is failing. And like Wizards is going to hit a point in their future where when they hit a bad string of IP crossover sets and it's going to tank their sales and they're going to look and see what happened, they're not going to understand why like these sets did poorly. Especially since Wizards is putting the cost of the IPs onto the players. Like, fuck Universes Beyond when it comes to the Final Fantasy set. I'm not paying $200 for a basic booster box. I'm not paying $150 for a fat pack or a bundle. Like, fuck no.
That used to be Masters level pricing.
Yeah.
Even, well, I don't know. Even then, was Masters? Yeah, I think Masters was priced about that. But Masters was priced that way just because of the sheer, quote unquote, value of the prints that you were getting in the set, and there was theoretically a lot of value in those, so it made sense. But yeah,
And
no, I think Wizards knows why a lot of their actual OG sets have been so bad. It's just they won't admit why.
well, because they fucked up the design. They ended their story, that's what people cared about, and the stories that they've been creating weren't compelling or appealing. And
Well,
like I'm
that or
not
they just retconned the shit out of a bunch of stuff, and it's just like, okay, so you took all this cool lore that you already have established and replaced it with this. Arguably, what you replaced it with is absolutely terrible. Why? Why would you do it? Well, let's just do this. Okay, I'm gonna hit you with the I don't fucking care. Why?
yeah.
But again, Magic Wizards would never admit that. The players know. They know in their hearts. They know in their minds. They know why it sucks. But Wizards would never admit it. They
Yeah.
never will.
And I'm not saying like Digimon needs the crossovers. Like it's not going to help fix the problems with Digimon because the problems with Digimon are from a design standpoint. Like Bandai just mismanaged it. They're letting bad cards run rampant in the game and absolutely destroy it from the inside out. And they have zero idea or zero clue how and why things are breaking. And it just it breaks my heart seeing the thing that I loved so much just get absolutely trashed and destroyed and turn into something that I really don't enjoy anymore. And like it just becomes so hard to want to do anything around it. Like I'm even debating about not even buying Time Strangers, the new Digimon game. One, because I don't believe in buying games brand new anymore, because fuck paying $70 for a video game at this point.
Or more.
Or more, yeah. Thanks, Nintendo. But, like, I was going to try to get the Super $200 Mega Collector's Extra Special Edition, and I'm just like, why? Why would I even bother? Like, I have a couple things on Bandai pre-ordered, like Bandai Premium pre-ordered, and they're not coming until fucking next year. I'll get them in December. I'm just like, December and January. I'm like, cool. Like, I'm...
Well, then could be like, what was it, a border... I came across a video one day, and I think it was talking about like a Borderlands Deluxe Edition or whatever, and it's like, oh, it's $180, and the whole point of the video is the guy pointing out, yep, it is $180, and then you're going to buy the game separate, and the guy's like, oh, no, why would they have a deluxe bundle if the game's not in it? And sure enough, in the ad that they have right down at the bottom, it says, game sold separately. It's
Yeah.
like, well, why is this considered a deluxe bundle for the game if there is no game?
Yeah, because I thought about doing a playthrough, like a Let's Play of the Time Strangers game. And it's not that I'm disinterested in the franchise. It's just, for where my YouTube channel is, I just don't think it's worth me doing. Like, I could do it on Twitch, but my Twitch numbers are dramatically down because, again, Twitch, like YouTube, loves consistency, and that's something I just can't give it. So it's just like, unfortunately, I just have to get out. Like, it's there, but it's literally doing nothing. So it's just unfortunate, but that's sometimes just how life goes. And, like, I wish my content was bigger. Any content creator can say that, but it's just looking at where my life is, where my interests are, where the content is versus the audience versus the game. Like, nothing lines up, nothing makes sense, and I've been putting on this facade that everything was fine when realistically nothing was. And right now it's just at a huge tipping point to where I'm just going to put the channel on ice, stop the podcast, stop videos, maybe post community posts every now and then, and um, maybe post a video if it's, like you said, something I'm really passionate and care about deeply that I feel like would get like good traction, or like a message I do really deeply want to get out. But at this point, I'm just gonna wait for the mobile app. That's the best I can do, is to hope the game gets better by the mobile app, see what the mobile app is doing, and then take it from there. That's probably when I'll do like season 2 of the podcast. Probably gonna be canceling the episode I just recorded because I I don't have faith I can salvage that and make it what I want it to be. Um, Not that it was that bad, um, but it's just not helping in a sense. Like, and I just it's just rough. It's really just rough.
Well, like I said, I just put a pause on things, take a step back, and when you just take a break, see, observe, see if things improve from the perspective. As you said, there's the digital version of the game that's going to be coming out that could very well be your inspiration to come back. It might not, but as I said, if you're not enjoying making the content and you're not happy with how it's coming out, that's just going to make you even more. It's going to give you more animosity towards making the videos than you already have. So you're just going to come into this wonderful little negative feedback loop, and it's just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse until you either just finally slam your fist on the desk and say, I'm fucking sick of this shit, I'm done, or you just so demoralized that the videos are coming out and there's just no coherency or enthusiasm or joy. It's literally just you could just went to Chat GTP and asked it, hey, you want to read out this script for me? Thanks. I'll post a PowerPoint to go with it. Don't you worry. Hell, you could probably ask Chat GTP to make a PowerPoint for you. Bam. Instant video creation.
Yeah, although YouTube is starting to crack down on the use of AI, so that might not be the best of ideas.
Now, good on them. They're doing something positive then.
Actually, surprisingly, yeah. Um, but yeah,
But the point being is, if you get to that point, it's just going to be this soulless, arguably just terrible video, and you could look at it yourself and be like, why would anybody want to watch this? I don't even want to watch it. I didn't even want to make it.
like half the time when I do my scripts, I feel like it's a good script, and like I feel like the content in terms of like educational quality is there. It's just I don't know. It just
It's like a
hasn't been
good
resonating.
it's a good it's like a good trailer. Doesn't you could have a good script. You could have a bad script. But a lot of times it's the delivery that sells the script.
Yeah, and
It's
I've
just like some of the stuff that I remember from from the classes where it's like, give me a good elevator pitch. Well, sometimes this elevator pitch is absolutely terrible. Who in their right mind would think, ah, yes, this is a good idea? But if the delivery for this elevator pitch is good, if it's got some machismo and it's got some solid charisma, the person listening will be like, yeah, this guy gets it.
Yeah.
Which again, kids, is why most of your good villains are very charismatic. Makes them come across as a lot more believable and relatable.
And like I've for the most part just been a one-man show this entire time. Like no editors cuz obviously I don't make enough to hire editors. And like it's hard enough getting hosts on podcasts, and uh I've had plenty of issues with people in general. Um so it's just difficult doing it all alone. And I'm just getting to the point where I just can't. So that's kind of why I'm ending it here. At least like for now.
We're gonna put it in the freezer and we'll check back in on it later.
Yeah. So I know I talked your ear off about this, but it was like desperately on my mind, and like you could almost say I woke up in a fit of depression, and I'm just like fuck man. I need somebody to get this off. Like to get this off my chest. And like
And to
hopefully
get this video off the ground.
I mean, I hope people will understand, and like I know a lot of people probably aren't even going to make it through the whole video. Most people just see the title and check out, but like the struggles of content creation are very real, and like I didn't think I was immune to it, but I didn't think it would hit as hard as it does. So that's probably where I'm going to leave it. And hopefully, when I'm ready to come back, people will be there waiting for me. I know they'll probably move on, and maybe that'll help reset the algorithm, but like, that's thinking numbers, and I shouldn't be thinking numbers. That's wrong.
And you could also think of it as even if they're not there, if when you come back you find a completely different audience that is excited to see what you're putting out, you can always think of it that way.
Yeah, that is true. Like there is light at the end of the tunnel. So, I'm not saying like it's done forever. But we'll see. That's all I can say. So, hopefully people found this to be I don't even want to say interesting, but like insightful, I guess. Like I don't know. It's mostly
Hopefully
just me
people will find
raving.
understanding.
Yeah, it's mostly just me raving about how I don't enjoy current Digimon, and how content creation is hard, and like some people probably take it as me whining when that's not necessarily the point. It's like this is why people have quit the game. I don't want to quit the game, but the game is making it so unenjoyable that it's very hard not to. Especially when the game is getting more expensive, it's becoming harder to play, it's becoming less interesting to play. Like, there's so many things going against it right now, especially when Bandai has Gundam just on the horizon. And I'm not giving Digimon up for Gundam. Like, fuck no. I like Gundam. I have Gunplas, but I'm just at a point where I like this is my last TCG. So, oh, I know I talked your ear off, but I always appreciate you listening, Mark.
Anytime.
I just hope, like, I don't know. I hope people don't take this the wrong way. They probably will, but I really hope they don't.
Got to get them keyboard warriors in the comments sections.
Yeah. So I know that kind of cannibalized all of our talking time, but outside of work just sucking, life being awful, and me wanting to quit YouTube, I really didn't have anything else outside of like the anime season is like completely and utterly stacked. And I'm not saying anime is impacting like content creation or impacting anything. If anything, anime is just keeping me more sane. So,
It
um,
keeps him more sane, and then he starts playing the gotchas, and he's just like, and then it's gone.
I actually gave up on Persona 5, The Phantom X. I
I didn't
just,
even know you were playing that.
I re-rolled
I had
enough.
two games in my head that I know that are gotchas that you play, and that was not one of them.
I tried to play it, and I was just like, I don't have the time and attention span to put towards another gotcha game. Like, I also gave up on Arc Knights too, because again, same thing. I just don't have the time or attention span for it. I'll just watch the
No,
anime and get my Arc Knight fix that way.
I was gonna say, to be perfectly honest, I didn't expect you to keep it. I figured you'd try it and be like, ah, yes, this was enjoyable for a little bit, and then be done.
Yeah. And again, I'm
Uh,
not saying gotcha games and animes taking away from content creation or my enjoyment of Digimon. It's just,
no, it's in my mind, it's something that you can do to just. It's more of your escapism,
yeah. And
and and I will argue any day of the week that on some level everybody needs that to some degree, as long as it is not having a negative impact on your daily functioning, then knock yourself out, kids.
I thought about like trying to do different types of content and like not do Digimon, but I know the algorithm really doesn't like it, and I really don't feel like starting a new channel. So even if I don't necessarily come back to Digimon, I just don't know what I would do if I do anything at all. Because I do like making content. Like I do enjoy making videos. It's one of the few skills I actually am using from college at this current moment, and like
I don't know. You could be like my one buddy who does Let's Plays. Most of his longest and most time-consuming stuff, it's all fucking Fire Emblem games. They don't do great on views, but they do great on viewership because most of the videos are long as fuck. But then the man plays like OG Pokemon TCG trading card game for the Game Boy Color, fucking explodes. Plays, well, in fairness, he put out 3 episodes of, I think it's one of the Goku, Super Saiyan, Dragon Ball Z games for the DS, I think it is.
yeah,
And the first 2 videos were, or the first 3 videos, absolutely garbage. Didn't get a single view. Puts a whole fucking Fire Emblem playthrough on the channel, comes back to it. He's getting like 2, 3, 400 views on like not every video, but maybe like every other video. It's doing great. It's doing numbers. Immediately goes to another Fire Emblem game. Tanks.
yeah, so maybe I'll see what my audience would want me to transition to, if anything. Like, just to maybe still do some kind of content. It's just I so desperately need a break from Digimon TCG content. It's oh
Well, like you said, if you wanted, I mean, I mean, you did say Pocket's not really the greatest for content creation, but if you wanted to just be like, hey, I'm making this silly fucking deck in Pocket. I'm gonna play 3 games. Let's see how it does. I don't think the deck's bad. I just bricked a lot. Maybe it is the deck. We'll
no,
talk about that.
Pokemon, as far as the TCG's in a really awkward spot, especially Pocket, because like the way because of the smaller deck sizes, it really puts extra constraints on the game that isn't necessarily prevalent in the main TCG as much. I mean, it's still there, just not as hyper fixated because there's more room for the decks to breathe. Um, so like I don't know. Like I said, I'll maybe put it up to my audience and see. I don't know if I'm gonna do let's plays. Um, I mean, maybe that would be a good way to incentivize me to actually play video games again, but I don't know. I would want to try to do anime YouTubing and like talk about anime because I watch it like a lot. But again, I don't think it's content that I'm able, like, just like with script writing, I don't think I'm charismatic enough to really carry it. But I don't know. Um, that's all stuff that I'm gonna have to think about, but not stuff I need to think about right away. So,
Makes
but
sense. I'm just throwing it out there. You're not constrained necessarily to the Digimon TCG. Yeah, that might be why what most of your followers are there for, but if you want to do something else, nothing's saying you can't.
right.
Hell, if you want, play the fucking Digimon the Cyber Sleuth game. Isn't that one of their newer ones?
Yeah. There's a lot that I
You
can
could do
do.
that to just shake things up. It's like, well, it's still Digimon related, but not the TCG, which is just an aggravating place to be. I don't want to be there. I'm gonna just stick around in this for a little bit.
Yeah, so we'll see. But
Yeah,
anyway,
about the only highlight that I really had to talk about was the fact that number one team at Weiss Regionals in Chicago.
so I'll figure things out. As we say at work. You're a smart guy. You'll figure it out. So, but yeah, hopefully this will let people understand where I am, where I'm coming from, and give them enough context to like not hopefully just hardcore unsubscribe. Because I would love to just magically end on 5,000. That's not going to happen, but I would just magically love it. So this probably is going to end up replacing the the podcast episode I was going to plan this week. So that way, like, when I bring back the podcast, it'll just be under season 2 this time. So, at least, like, I could try for that. But yeah, like, I have a ton of old content people could go through and look at, like, basically the history of the game, figure out where my enjoyment stopped and, like, where a lot of the basically the frustrations came from. Like, I think that would be like a fun experiment, but nobody's gonna do it, obviously. So, anywho, I'm getting kind of hungry. So, maybe next time we could talk
You
about
ran,
more
ran
uplifting
yourself into
things.
hunger.
Yeah, maybe next time we could talk about like more uplifting things because I know I kind of cannibalized this time, but
Oh no, I had a great time shitting on Magic the Gathering. What are you talking about?
I always love shitting on Magic. Magic always makes me frustrated, but like it's a game a lot of people
I
play.
the thing is I only enjoy it because I don't. And maybe this is me being a narcissist, but I don't feel like a lot of my takes are too far from the cake.
They're not. I don't think they are.
But I also know that we're in agreement on a lot of takes, so
Yes. Well, that's because we had very similar education. We could see things as what our education taught us to believe. We could see things most normal people can't. And
well, I
I
mean
feel like that
it's
perspective hurt me in some ways, but I I don't regret having it.
well, there's two ways to look at it. You could look at it from the perspective of, hey, I am a player of this game and I enjoy this game. So this is the perspective I have from this point of view. But then you can also look at it with the designer eye and be like, yes, I am going to this is the things that I enjoy slash dislike about this game from a design perspective, not as a player in the trenches. Two very different takes, but both very valid.
Yeah.
Do I
I
enjoy
think
playing
like
Magic? Most of the time. Is there a lot of things I think Magic sucks at? You're damn right I do.
I think the big
Not only as a
takeaway
player, but
is
also as a designer.
I think the big takeaway is Bandai just needs to hire me, and I'll fix the game. That's the big takeaway. That's my end goal. That's what I really want is just Bandai to hire me and I'll fix the game for them. Like, I'll be part of their, like, 10-ish man crew. I'll help the game try to be better, talk some sense into Bandai from making poor decisions all the time. Like, that's realistically all I want. I know it's not going to happen, but
You guys suck. Please let me fix the problem.
basically, yes. And I know I very easily could. Well, maybe not easily. I could. Given the opportunity, given the time, given the effort. But maybe what I'm gonna plan on doing is maybe hop on to like other people's content for a hot minute. Like I've always wanted to try to like be better at commentating. So maybe I'll just try to hop on a commentating hype train and see if I could improve myself that way. I don't know. Like I don't want to be done with the Digimon TCG, obviously, but like I kind of just do need this break. So
No, I've told, like I said, I've told you on a few occasions that maybe you just need to take a step back and take a break from it.
yeah,
Reassess, reevaluate.
because anyone who's been following my content knows I have like depression, waves of depression, where I do just ask them like, hey, I'm basically not depressed, but like I'm eluding I'm depressed, and I'm just gonna start asking them lots of questions and try to change my content based on their feedback. Usually when I do that, that's mostly out of depression, because something's not working and it's making me sad. So, yeah. But
I can't figure it out, chat. Please help.
pretty much. But I just really needed to get this all off my chest. And thank you, Mark, for being the person to absorb a lot of my frustrations.
Well, not only absorb, but also I tried a little bit of just trying to reflect things back at you, just so it wasn't so one-sided on a few things, or at least give you my take on stuff that we're ranting and raving about.
Yeah, because I know I can and do tend to spiral. So
I was gonna say there was a few points where it's like I'm gonna jump in. Nope, he's still going. I don't want to be that guy. I'll let him cook. Damn, it's been 5 minutes. Maybe I should jump in. He's cooking a little hard.
yeah. But that's just my personality trait and like part of how I was raised, where I never thought I had a voice. And I think like YouTube actually gave me the opportunity to have a voice, and then seeing like it not reach anyone made me feel like I don't have a voice again. And yeah, that didn't help.
Well, I mean, I was just going to jump in because I think of something to say or a point to bounce back, but you just keep going, and then you go into a different point. And it's like, okay, I got to make a mental note of coming back to that. That's why at one point in the conversation, I was like, but you mentioned this before, but the deck consistency thing, I forgot to make my point when I was making my other points. I was like, I want to come back to this because that's something that I'd like to come back to.
Yeah. Like maybe I might make one more video post this, really kind of not like relaying a lot of the information here, but like maybe condensing it in a sense where it's just like how I feel like Bandai can fix the Digimon TCG, and then kind of just have that end, like have that be the end note outside of this. And
Wasn't that kind of what your Electric Boogaloo video was, where you
oh
say, "Hey,
no,
this is
that was definitely not a how to fix things. It was things didn't change for the better. They actually got worse, and here's how. So it was basically the exact opposite. It was just like I wanted things to get better, but they didn't.
okay?" 'Cause maybe I'm just misremembering, but I thought when I watched the video, you talked about problems in the game. You didn't really offer hard solutions, but you just kind of softly said, "Well, this is this is something that they could do to alleviate that problem, or it, this problem might be alleviated if they just did X. You didn't offer a hard solution, but hey, here's a thing to think about for the problem I'm talking about. This is something I think might put them in the right direction. But I mean, I personally, if you don't think if let me start over. I personally think if you don't have a video that goes over, hey, these are the problems I have with the Digimon card game TCG, these are what I think would be good solutions.
Yeah.
And you could also go on and say, and this is where I think the problem is because they just keep doubling down on XYZ. It's just like the God damn that fucking statement when we were at the Lloyd's Regional, and the one guy's like, "Oh, ancient Greymon. Oh yeah, they need to print a card that gives him more protection." And the first thing I thought of is, I want to fucking just jump over the table and punch you because you are literally the problem. That is literally why the game is in the state that it is. Oh, rush decks don't have enough protection from removal. We gotta give them more protection. Okay? And what does that solve? It makes the game faster. And I can play aggro. Or no other deck types.
I mean, that's mostly what Digimon is. Like, aggro and combo has been way too good for basically forever. And, like, they've only made cards to double down on that. And
Well,
it's just really grating.
it's like the one podcast video we did. Okay, aggro's a problem. What do? Okay, we're gonna try to give decks a way to slow the aggro down. Now everyone's bitching that the control decks are too good, or there's too much control tech that we need to fix that. What is their solution? Protections. What does that do? Makes the aggro decks even faster because now they're even safer because you don't have options to deal with them. What's the solution? Try to think of new ways to give options to get rid of that. What is the solution? We're going to give cards more protection.
Yeah.
It's just this stupid feedback loop of you just keep doing the same thing over and over again, and the game just slowly gets to be in a worse and worse position. It becomes faster, faster, and faster. And then I asked you, is there a true mid-range deck that actually exists in the meta? You told me no. It's literally hardcore aggro slash OTK decks, clock control. That's it. Those are the only viable decks competitively. And arguably, I don't think I disagree with you.
Yeah.
And if you literally exist on a true dichotomy on one end of the spectrum and another of, hey, I'm going to kill you in 3 turns because I'm just that fucking fast, versus you'll die in 8 days because I've said so and you can't deal with me. There's nothing in between. It's like, dude, where's the flavor?
Right.
And I think
And
that's a terrible state for the game to be in. Yeah, I'll shit on the Magic formats a lot because a lot of the formats kind of end up that way. Is you kind of polarize yourself onto that dichotomy, and a lot of the stuff in between just kind of disappears because that's usually the problem with mid range, because mid range is too slow to deal with aggro. But if they don't kill the control decks fast enough, they're just going to lose out to control.
yeah, they get basically the best and the worst of both worlds. And
Yes.
And yeah, Digimon doesn't allow for that. There's a lot that Digimon doesn't allow for, which is unfortunate, but that's why I want Bandai to hire me, is so I could try to fix some of the game the best that I could. And it's not like they're going to listen to me or want to hire me. And my interview hasn't even been posted, so I think they just took whatever they did and just threw it out the window. So that made me feel very good.
Your interview?
Yeah, at the last Nationals, they interviewed me, basically just having me try to shill for Digimon, and I did that, and they didn't post a video of that footage when I don't know what they were going to use it for. But
I was
yeah,
gonna say, was that something they'd had the content creators do, or just
I,
anybody?
no, it was just anybody. They just pulled somebody who had the Digimon badge off, like, not really the street, but they just pulled them aside and said, "Hey, could you do this?" And I was just like, "Yeah, sure, I'd love to." That hasn't been released yet, but and I don't
Gotcha.
think it's going to, which is unfortunate. But yeah, um, that's kind of all I got. So hopefully
All right.
everyone understands, and hopefully um, things get
Now you
better
got
in
the
the
wrong
future.
attitude. Hopefully everybody understands, but fuck them if they don't. Screw them. They don't. I hate them.
I'm too old to hate people. I mean, there's people I do kind of hate, but I'm too old to like really hate everyone and just be super negative all the time. Like, I know it's shocking to believe I'm not super negative all the time about everything.
Damn. You sure?
Yeah. So,
All right. Better ask the keyboard warriors in the comments section. Is this true?
they'll that's if they make it this far. So, anyway, thanks again for listening to me, Mark, and
Yeah.
trying
Like I
to
said,
understand
anytime.
my plight. So I'm getting hungry. So on that, I'll probably just end it here.
All right. Sounds good. Well, I'll talk to you later then, Austin.
All right. Talk to you later, Mark. Next time we could talk about happier things.
Absolutely. Can't talk about the depression all the time.
Right. So, see ya.
All right. Bye.